Alright, welcome to puzzle number 6, Surrounded. This time we'll be taking Mercia to victory in a single turn. So what do we got? Well, it's pretty clear who our target's gonna be, huh? Looks like we need to take down the Felheim leader here. And there are no other enemy units on the map, so we don't have to worry about that. We've just got a bunch of wounded units here to use, and we have Mercia with her groove up, so let's start by checking out what that is. So Mercia's groove heals all nearby units by 50% within a radius of 3 from her. Okay, well, I can obviously see some use for that. Looks like most of our units are around 50% here. And I think they are all within range of the commander, which means we need to figure out who we actually want to attack him, who's going to do the most damage, and that might depend on how we use our heal. Although, there is actually a second option here. Instead of healing, we could just have Mercia herself attack a commander, which might be a pretty good option because she does 41% damage. She pretty much half kill him herself. But let's look at the healing option first, and then we'll come back and see if maybe the non-healing option is a good option as well. So we've got a knight here who is in fact in crit range, but he's pretty damaged, so he'll only do 16%. Our other knight is too close to crit, so he'd only do 14% even though he's 10% higher health. We got a ranger who will definitely want to attack because he's not going to take up any attack space for other units, so why not? We got a mage who could crit from either of these forest tiles for 17. We have a giant, and giants do a lot of damage to commanders. They also have a crit condition that they crit when they're at or below 40% health, which makes them kind of complicated because they can actually do more damage at lower health than they can do at higher health. And I believe the benchmark is that they do the same damage, the same maximum damage at 40% health as they do at 100% health. So it kind of resets when they get to 40. And he could do 18% to the commander. So I believe that's the highest of any of these guys so far. It's pretty close to the knight and pretty close to the mage. Then we have these pikemen. So we got 2 pikemen who can do 11% and 9%. So we'll want to check on their crit condition because we haven't used them before. So they crit when they are adjacent to another spearman. So when they're next to each other, they'll do crits. So if we look at this guy, he'd do 11% attacking from here, but if we attack from next to the other guy, he'd do 16%. So 50% more. And that's pretty good damage. So I'm thinking, ideally we'd want this guy to get his crit off. And we'd probably want... We could attack with these 2 spearmen separately and do a little more damage than they would do with one of them critting. But then they'd be taking up two slots. And we're going to want the mage to attack from one of those forest tiles. And we'll probably want the giant to attack from here. So the knight here, giant here, mage in one of these 2 spots, which only leaves one of these 2 spots left. It'd be great if we could have this knight attack too, but he can only attack from one of these spots. And he wouldn't do as much damage as this knight, so don't want him here. And he wouldn't do as much damage as the giant, so we don't want him here. So he's kind of not in a good position. And then, yeah, pikemen in one of the other, in whichever tree the mage doesn't attack from. Well, yeah. And then this guy will attack. So, who do we want to heal? We could, like, healing these two guys might be a good play. We could heal them both from here, but nobody else. If we wanted to heal the pikeman down here, he'd be the only one we could heal, so that's out. We could do it somewhere in the middle here. And yeah, we could get these three guys healed. Or we could do it up here and try and get this group, and we could indeed heal all four of these guys. Which seems like it's probably a pretty good option. So let's do some quick comparison. Between healing these three and healing these two, the knight gets healed either way, so it's just between, do we want this guy healed or these two guys healed? And then we have healing these four guys up here. So let's compare the 3 to the 2 first. So the golem, or the giant, is currently doing 18. So this is going to be a little more complicated to figure out what he would do, because currently he's doing... he's getting a multiplier of 1/5 for being at 20% health. But he's also critting, which gives him 250% extra damage, which is a much higher crit bonus than any other unit. But that would mean he gets multiplied by 2.5 and then divided by 5, which comes out to 50% maximum damage. Or we could heal him to 70% with Mercia's Groove, and then he'd be getting a multiplier of 70% maximum damage. So it would be better to heal him, but he would not be gaining as much as the other guys would, because he'd only be going from 50% max to 70% max damage. And yeah. He probably does like 36, because these codex numbers aren't really accurate. I don't think they're accurate even if the target's on a road tile. So you actually do a little less damage than it shows here when they're on the plains. So I'd say about 36% of the commander's health is his base, his maximum. So if we're looking at a difference of 20% there, it's not much. Whereas these guys, by comparison, would be doubling their damage because they're currently at 50% health, so bringing them to 100% would double their damage. So we'd be getting 17% extra just from the mage. And then this guy, since he would be getting a critical, he'd be doing 50% more than 9, so 13.5. We'd be doubling that, so he'd be getting an extra 13.5 and an extra 17, so an extra 20.5% total, which is way more than we'd be getting from healing this guy. So healing these 3 is better than healing these 2. And then we compare healing these 3 to healing these 4. Well, these 2 are getting healed either way, so it's just between, do we heal this knight, or do we heal this knight and this ranger, and that's an easy choice. Because this knight's in a better, this knight can crit, this knight cannot, and we get this ranger's damage boosted as a free bonus. So we should heal these 4. So let's do that.
None shall fall while I still stand! Healing aura!
So dramatic, Mercia. So we may as well go ahead and attack with this ranger. We know that's not going to get in the way of anything. We want to crit with this knight for 37. Quite good. Then we want the mage to get in there, and we want the pikeman to crit. So let's send the mage to the bottom. And we'll move this lower health pikeman up into position for the higher health to crit. And actually that's enough to kill the commander right there. We don't even need to bring the... Oops. We don't even need to bring in the giant to finish him. So there's that. Now that was actually only the healing path. There's one other solution that we can try. So let's take a look at that. Instead of healing, we could have Mercia attack from one of these spots and do 41. In that case, I think pretty much everything would still be the same. We'd still want the mage to attack here. We'd still want to crit with one pikeman. We'd still want this guy to crit there, and we'd still want the ranger to attack. And if we do all of that, it means Mercia would want to attack from here, which would just be in place of the golem, I guess. Although, being as the golem is at 20% health, if he attacks the commander will actually kill him in his retaliatory strike, because he'd do 36% back. So one option is we could attack with the golem and get some damage in. The golem would die and still leave that spot vacant for another unit to attack. So let's see how this goes. Ranger goes in, knight goes in for a crit, and the knight actually died. There is some, and I did this wrong. We should have had this guy attacking instead of this guy. We'll see if we need to redo this. There is some actual RNG involved. Like there's that you can do 5% more or less damage than it says on the damage preview here. And that's why that knight died, even though the preview said he wouldn't. So we can actually have Mercia attack from here now. And he's down to 7%, so we can easily finish him with our giant. So that works fine, even though we didn't do it perfectly optimally. So either way, healing or having Mercia attack works out fine. We did lose a unit without the healing, but we don't really care, because the commander's dead. That would mean the game would be over. Alright, so looks like we're going to be heading to the Unhappy Valley next in puzzle number 7. See you there.